Yeah, YB reached out to me after that stream, and YB was just like, yo, I love you, man, but yo, you can't let these motherfuckers play with my name. Respectfully to NLE Choppa, I would just like to know, are you talking gangster shit that you want to get into it with this? Because I ain't gonna lie to you, YoungBoy's attracted to down to kill and die. I don't think NLE Choppa is talking that energy. I think he's talking about artistically.
That's what he did. That's what he did. That's what he did.
NLE Choppa, listen to me. You can't go walk the runway with that little walk. You remember that walk you had? I think I'm a bad. You can't come back to that walk.
And Catrell is evil, and he's a bad influence. So you want to go and put that man on his knees.
NLE Choppa just dropped yet another diss aimed at NBA YoungBoy, and this one feels straight up awkward. Fam, this is the same Memphis rapper who once openly called YoungBoy his favorite artist. But now he's taking shots every few weeks, like he's desperate for attention. Behind all the exaggerated dance moves and random spiritual talk, there's clearly something deeper going on. Choppa's been watching his numbers slide while YoungBoy continues stacking wins nonstop. And now, it feels like the only way he sees to stay in the spotlight is by coming at the king. The real story of how a former fan turned into YoungBoy's loudest critic is packed with broken connections, crashed friendships, and a clout chase that looks more sad than serious. We're about to break down some real industry chaos playing out in plain sight, and most people still don't fully see what's really happening. But before diving into this mess, let's keep it real. Social media has been going crazy over Choppa's new track, Hello, Revenge. With fans asking why he just won't leave YoungBoy alone, we're here to separate facts from fiction and show what's really driving this situation. October 2025 is when everything finally lined up and exposed what NLE Choppa has really been trying to do. Out of nowhere, he dropped his first YoungBoy diss after years of silence, leaving everybody confused since these two hadn't traded words in a long time. But don't get it twisted, this isn't some deep street conflict. This is desperation wrapped in tough talk. And that's when things really started getting spicy. The numbers tell the full story. Choppa's been struggling, and the stats don't lie. Look at the streams. His recent releases are barely cracking 1 million views, while YoungBoy pulls tens of millions without even trying. Those last singles didn't move the needle at all, and he realized he couldn't keep recycling that same shot flow energy forever. In today's internet game, attention is currency, and Choppa figured out that saying YoungBoy's name is basically a cheat code to get eyes on him. Every reaction channel, every hip-hop blog, every social feed lights up the moment their names get mentioned together. So naturally, he leaned all the way into it. Now let's rewind to 2018. When this whole situation really began. Back then, NLE Choppa was just a young Memphis artist trying to break into the game, and NBA YoungBoy was the rapper he looked up to the most. He didn't hide it either. Choppa was remixing YoungBoy type tracks, borrowing pieces of his flow, and constantly drawing comparisons everywhere he went. Compared to him everywhere, and this wasn't some surface level admiration either. Choppa actually built major parts of his early sound straight off YoungBoy's blueprint. The intense delivery, the raw emotion in the storytelling, even the energy behind his name. NLE stood for No Love Entertainment. Just like NBA meant Never Broke Again. The connection was obvious from the jump. Then in February 2019, during a Hip Hop DX interview, he was asked who his favorite artists were. Choppa didn't hesitate. He said, NBA YoungBoy, Meek Mill, and Lil Durk. That wasn't rewritten history. That was real-time proof of how deep the admiration ran. He was locked into YoungBoy's entire catalog, studying the flows, the emotions, the structure. He even flipped through the storm into his own version, Through the Rain. On an early project, he was chasing that same powerful energy that made YoungBoy's music feel so magnetic. Memphis and Baton Rouge came from two totally different worlds. But Choppa saw how YoungBoy's raw honesty connected with people everywhere. And he wanted that same reach, that same ability to turn real pain into records that traveled worldwide. But this is where things started getting messy. In March 2019, the first real signs of tension appeared when people around Choppa went live on Instagram talking reckless about YoungBoy, calling him fake and questioning his background. Choppa tried to shut it down in real time because thousands of people were watching, but the damage was already done. One of his guys even called YoungBoy lame and claimed he wasn't really on that type of timing. That hit different, especially coming from people tied to someone who openly called himself a fan. YoungBoy caught wind of the disrespect and went live on his own to address it. He said, "Ain't no killer," making it clear he wasn't letting that kind of talk slide. And here's the twist. Almost immediately, Choppa jumped back on live trying to smooth it over, saying YoungBoy was still his favorite rapper and that he wanted to work with him. That moment showed the first real crack. Choppa was torn between holding on to a tough image and showing genuine respect for YoungBoy. He couldn't control what his people were saying, but at the same time, he didn't want to lose the respect of the artist he looked up to. But by then, the damage was already done. In YoungBoy's world, respect is everything, and when your circle talks reckless, it makes you look weak by association. That moment planted the very first seed of distrust between them. Later in 2019, when YoungBoy got locked up on a probation violation, Choppa dropped a full track called Free YoungBoy to show real love and support. This wasn't some industry move for attention. This was genuine appreciation from a rising artist who still saw YB as one of his biggest inspirations. He even used the vibe of YoungBoy's Free DDAWG beat, showing just how deep that influence really ran. But this is where the story shifts from pure admiration into something much more complicated. Once Choppa started getting real buzz, his energy began to change. On June 19, 2019, everything flipped after he got into that situation with Quando Rando in Houston. And that single moment would change everything moving forward. According to Quando's side, he was at a venue, just cooling, when some people from Choppa's camp approached him with tension already in the air. And this wasn't a simple
misunderstanding. Choppa's circle came in ready for pressure. When Choppa later pulled up with his group, the situation escalated fast. Quando ended up throwing a Hennessy bottle at one of Choppa's people, cracking his face open and leaving blood all over the spot. Security rushed in and broke it up, but the damage was already done, not just to that man's face, but to any real chance of peace between the two camps. Quando went live right after, showing zero remorse, and even bragging about what happened. Bragging about what went down. He said Choppa's boy needed stitches running from his forehead all the way down to his nose. He even threw out a wild challenge, offering $40,000 if Choppa would post a picture of his injured homie. But here's the embarrassing twist. After all that loud street talk, Choppa was secretly in Quando's DMs trying to smooth things over. Quando later exposed those messages, showing Choppa writing, "I don't know if you're with me, but I just wanted to say keep turning up and stay safe out there." That move had people talking heavy, because everybody knows you can't play friendly with someone's enemies and still expect loyalty to stay solid. Choppa's situation only got messier as he tried to play both sides, while linking up with people who didn't rock with YoungBoy at all. The real shock hit when Choppa started getting close with King Von and Lil Durk's circle. This wasn't just casual networking. Choppa and Von were really building a bond, hanging out, playing video games, and spending real time together while both were on house arrest. When Von tragically passed in November 2020 after that situation involving Quando Rondo's camp, Choppa posted emotional messages calling Von his brother. The pain was genuine, but that loyalty came with serious consequences. Then January 2022 arrived, and that's when everything exploded. YoungBoy was rolling out his Colors mixtape and dropped Bring the Hook, where he dissed King Von. That moment lit the fuse on all the hidden tension and alliances that had been quietly building. The bars were brutal. YB was speaking on someone who had passed, and in hip-hop, that crosses a serious line. DJ Academics even tweeted that YoungBoy was on Demon Time, and Lil Reese replied saying that wasn't Demon Time. That was just rap. And here's where Choppa made the move that changed everything. He jumped into the conversation and replied to Reese with, "I stamped that." That wasn't a small comment. In that moment, stamping that tweet meant he agreed that YoungBoy crossed the line with the Von diss, which officially placed Choppa on Chicago's side and directly against Baton Rouge. That single tweet shifted the entire energy overnight. Just 2 days later, YoungBoy released Know Like I Know, and Fam. That track hit different. This wasn't a regular diss. It sounded like a straight-up threat laid over a beat. YB went all the way in, talking about how Choppa's mother would be heartbroken if he really chose to switch sides. Some of those lines were chilling. When YB said, "Your mama gonna be crying when she see you in that coffin," that didn't sound like rap bravado. It came off as a warning. He even reminded Choppa how he once called YB his favorite artist, basically telling him to fall back before things turned ugly. Then YB started attacking from every angle. He called out Choppa's healthy lifestyle phase as fake, and even brought up his past involvement with YoungBoy's ex, Young LYSS. This wasn't just rap anymore. YB was breaking him down personally, professionally, and psychologically. And the most haunting moment came when YB sang in that eerie tone, "I want your soul," while reminding Choppa that choosing side could cost him his life. That wasn't just music. That was psychological warfare wrapped inside a song. And it hit hard because after that record dropped, Choppa went completely silent. But the pressure didn't stop there. YoungBoy started referencing Choppa's cars, his Instagram posts, even his own mother, who helps manage his career. YB was basically letting him know that he was watching every move and nothing was off limits. Then came that interlude where YB questioned why Choppa's own parents weren't telling him to step away from the beef. And when someone starts talking about your family's peace of mind, you know the situation is officially serious. For anyone who doesn't fully understand how this industry works, let me break it down real quick. When a heavyweight like YoungBoy applies that level of heat, you really only have 3 choices: respond immediately, take the loss quietly, or disappear from the conversation entirely. Choppa chose that third option, and he stayed silent for nearly 2 full years. And that silence spoke louder than any diss track ever could. If he was truly living the image he once pushed, he would have fired back instantly. Instead, he pulled all the way back, shifted his energy, and started leaning into a spiritual journey. He began promoting healthy eating, meditation, and positivity, the complete opposite of the tough persona he once carried. And throughout that whole phase, you could clearly see that the diss had affected him. He flipped his public image, started talking about healing, avoiding conflict, and stepping away from negativity. While that shift may have helped his mental health, it also showed just how deeply YoungBoy's words had landed. The change was dramatic. The same artist once tied to heavy street politics suddenly became a full-on wellness advocate. Choppa was now promoting herbs med. Fans noticed the switch immediately. Some respected the growth, but others began questioning whether he was still being real. Meanwhile, YoungBoy kept leveling up nonstop. His career continued climbing, his fan base kept expanding, and he never mentioned Choppa's name again. And that silence from YB ended up doing more damage than any response track ever could. But here's the cold, calculated part of this entire situation. Fast forward to 2024. Suddenly, Choppa decided he had unfinished issues with YoungBoy all over again. So what changed? Let's really break it down. YoungBoy had just finished a massive tour, reportedly clearing around $75 million while selling out arenas everywhere. His name stayed trending, his videos were pulling millions, and he remained one of the most talked about rappers in the game. At the very same time, Choppa was fighting to stay relevant. His recent drops were getting lukewarm reactions. His streams were slipping, and no matter how many remixes or sequels he dropped, he still couldn't recreate the magic of Shot of Flow. The numbers told the entire story loud and clear. His new releases were barely scraping past 1 million views, while YoungBoy was casually pulling 10 to 20 million. Choppa's monthly Spotify listeners were sliding downward as YB stayed locked in with tens of millions. At this point, it wasn't about hurt pride or street reputation anymore. It was about numbers, momentum, and survival in the industry. Then Choppa dropped Co. in October 2024, and suddenly he was getting more attention again than he had in months. The YouTube comments were exploding. Reaction channels were posting back-to-back. Social media was on fire. And all of it traced back to one thing. He said YoungBoy's name again. The proof is right there in the stats. Co likely pulled more views in its first week than his last 3 regular releases combined. The algorithm feeds off controversy, and Choppa quickly realized that taking shots at the most talked about rapper in the game was his fastest lane back to attention. Now look at Hello Revenge. All the dancing, the spiritual quotes, the dramatic visuals, none of it hides the truth. This is manufactured drama with extra production money behind it. He's trying hard to make it look deep and artistic, but it plays more like desperation wrapped inside a music video. The video even opens with Genesis 1 verse 1, framing it like a battle between light and darkness. He's quoting scripture while performing choreographed dance moves, creating a strange contrast that doesn't fully match the message. Then he drops lines taking direct aim at YoungBoy, but the delivery feels so theatrical that it's hard to take seriously. He even went as far as putting up billboards in Baton Rouge to try and provoke a response. But YoungBoy already made it clear he's not giving energy to people who don't matter. In his zero IQ freestyle, YB literally said, "Respond to him?" Then answered himself with, "No, that's about as dismissive as it gets." And when you look at the pattern, the desperation becomes obvious. First he dropped Co., then just a few weeks later followed it up with Hello Revenge. That's not organic tension. That's content creation disguised as beef. This whole situation exposes a bigger issue in hip-hop right now. We've shifted away from real conflicts rooted in real problems. Now it's staged controversy designed to feed the algorithm. Artists are learning that negative attention still counts as attention, and attention still turns into money. Look at how the industry reacted. Even YoungBoy's camp treated Choppa like he wasn't important enough to fully acknowledge. Even YB's own mother weighed in, saying she'd only be upset if this was coming from someone who actually mattered, not someone most people aren't even listening to. Reaction channels are treating this more like entertainment than real beef. The comment sections are filled with people clowning Choppa instead of taking him seriously. And even some of his own fans are starting to question the strategy. And here's the real kicker. This whole approach could backfire on Choppa in the long run. By openly chasing clout, he's painting himself as the desperate one and damaging his own brand. Fans respect authenticity, and this just doesn't feel authentic. The numbers back that up too. His diss records get short-term boosts, but they're not lifting his core music or creating long-term success. It's like a sugar rush, huge spike for a moment, then a hard crash. At the end of the day, this situation isn't just about wanting smoke with YoungBoy. It's about a former fan realizing that his idol has become his only real ticket back to relevance. And honestly, that's what makes it all feel kind of sad. Watching the shift from real admiration to manufactured hostility shows just how badly the industry can twist relationships. Choppa went from making tribute-style records to pushing desperate attempts at starting beef. This whole timeline proved one thing loud and clear. Sometimes the biggest threat to an artist's career is their own desperation. Instead of leveling up the music or carving out a true lane for himself, Choppa chose controversy, and it's making him look weak, not powerful. The psychological side of this story is the wildest part. Imagine idolizing someone, only for them to threaten you on a record, then going silent for years, and suddenly popping back up only when your career needs a boost. That's a heavy emotional cycle, and there's no way it doesn't affect how Choppa sees himself as an artist. The real question is this: how long can you keep dissing someone who won't even acknowledge your existence? These moves might grab short-term attention, but they're not building a lasting career. People eventually get tired of manufactured drama. Meanwhile, YoungBoy's silence speaks louder than any diss track ever could. By refusing to respond, he's showing that Choppa isn't even worth his time. And that's probably more damaging than 100 songs combined. This whole situation also highlights the difference between real street beef and industry-made controversy. Authentic beef carries real consequences, real emotions, and real stakes. What we're seeing here doesn't feel like that. It feels like a full-blown marketing campaign that went wrong. So now I want to hear from you. What do you really think about Choppa repeatedly trying to get YoungBoy's attention? Do you think this strategy can ever work long-term? Is this real beef, or just another clout chase? And is there any way back for Choppa's credibility after all this? Don't forget to join the Rap Uncovered family. Turn on those notifications and stay locked in. The streets never sleep, and we're just getting started. We drop heat every single day, and tomorrow's upload is going to be even crazier, deeper, and absolutely unmissable. Show love, share your thoughts, and we'll catch you in the next one right here.